get started.
Let's start and address this whole COVID thing first. It's not going away anytime soon. So let's start talking about how we teach our kids with autism, how to tolerate masks, how to tolerate closed places, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the questions we got from our members was, how do I teach a child how to tolerate a mask? And that is huge, right? Because it looks like we're going to be wearing masks for a while now. So you would do that through desensitization. Sherry's admitting people as we're talking. So I'm going to screen share because we did write a program for it. And it was just about tolerating a face mask. And the very first thing you'd want to do is just have the student play with it, touch it. You know, maybe there's some really fun face masks that the student can, can pick out. So if, they've got a choice between a Spider-Man face mask or a Cinderella face mask, etc. Cinderella's still even a thing right now. Like more like Frozen is. Exactly. But really what it comes down to is systematic desensitization. So, we know about that through Cooper, Hare, and Heward. We've got, things like, allowing the choice between what mask they're going to wear, setting out a visual timer, using a first then, the mask should fit properly, making sure that it doesn't hurt their ears, making sure it's a softer material, etc. Just try and make it really pleasant for the student. So
I did see some things that you can get that instead of the mask rubber band going behind the ear, you can get it to kind of tie behind their head. So that might be a nice addition for kids that have that, sensory feeling of not wanting it there.
For sure, absolutely. Social stories can be used. I know they're not effective in and of themselves, but if you combine a social story with some role play and then with desensitization, some of the kiddos can go, oh, the ones who have enough language can go, oh, that's why we need to wear one. Maybe it's even functional communication training around, I don't want to wear it, or that appropriate protest, like, no, thank you, so that at least they're not throwing a tantrum in public. Tough luck, dude, you got to wear it. You can't protest and get out of it because this is now probably a law. But if they can at least say, listen, it's hot or it's uncomfortable, so that we can say, let me fix it for you. That's huge as well. So anyway, basically, here are the teaching steps in terms of tolerating masks. Now, we wrote a couple different teaching steps because we have a lot of different learners out there, right? So sometimes it's just a matter of, listen, like, here the mask is, it's out on the table, let's play with it, let's dress a doll with it, look, I'm gonna try it on, look, let's make it fun, etc., etc. And then it's like, okay, let's tolerate the mask. The first example, we're going to tolerate the mask just being held up to the mouth, and that's it, and then tolerate it around one ear and then the other. In the second example, it sounds like, the child's a little bit more advanced and you may not be able to, you may not have to do all of those steps. So eventually it's okay tolerating the mask for, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and then increasing the amount of time from there and really providing reinforcement each time.
I think part of this teaching is that to teach it not in the moment, like having it be taught very separately, so that when they do have to go out, that's not the time where you're needing to do multiple trials of trying on the mask, but do it in a time when they're calm, when it becomes more of a positive experience, and that you can provide lots of reinforcement for the right things.
Yeah, pairing it with preferred things as well, right? So when they're wearing the mask, they're also maybe watching their favorite YouTube clip, or they're listening to their favorite song, so that the mask becomes really fun at the beginning.
Yeah, and then if all else fails, I did see that it is possible to get a doctor's note to exempt certain kids from having to wear a mask. I don't know if that would apply like everywhere, depending on what the rules are and what the laws are. I don't know if places indoors are requiring a mask. Like we, in our school, we don't require the kids to wear a mask within the classroom that they're in because it's a small number of people. But if they're going to a store or somewhere in public, then they would have to wear a mask. So it kind of depends on like what the setting is. But if the child really resists it, then maybe you can get, an exemption.